Well, would you take your parents and your friends on your honeymoon? More people are planning what they call family moons. It's a growing trend among Gen Z couples.
Interesting. Travel expert Joanie Wang is joining us to talk more about why brides and grooms are open to this option. Joanie, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me this morning, ladies. Really happy to be here. Big reason, there's two main reasons why we're seeing this trend happening across the board. The first is that there are a lot of couples out there, possibly from the pandemic, who just aren't valuing traditional weddings in the same way that people have in the past. And so there's not a particular special meaning, there's no religious significance, there's no family obligations. And so instead, they're starting to think about, how do I want to celebrate my milestone? And the second is really pretty straightforward. Weddings are really expensive. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of effort. It's really stressful. It's a lot of anxiety inducing. And so if it's not something important to them and it's so expensive, couples are starting to think about, what are my values? What do I care about? And how do I want to celebrate? And so they're turning towards, the travel aspect of it. Travel is a huge experience for most people. They want to start creating these deeper connections with their loved ones. And so they're starting to bring their family, sometimes their friends, sometimes just their friends actually, along with them instead of just traveling on their own.
Now, you're actually planning a family moon, so tell us about your own experience, where you're going and who you're bringing.
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband and I just did a very small, legally required wedding. We had an officiant, we had two observers, and we decided that we were going to, instead of putting that money into a wedding, we were going to take a 2-week vacation in Europe. We invited mostly just friends because our family's a little bit older, our parents are a little bit older, and so probably not as accessible for them. But we, basically we're like, hey, of our closest friends, let's invite, the first 20 group of 20. And so we actually got a lot of interest, even though we planned it within 4 months of when we want to travel. And so at that point, we're like, okay, 20 people is too many. We probably won't invite anybody else, and let's just see how this goes. So yeah, really excited. There's a lot of logistics that go into it. There's a lot of thinking about it. We're really the ones driving a lot of the planning and a lot of the travel. So a lot of people are looking to us because it is our special moment. And so we're like, hey, we want to go to these countries. We want to do these experiences. And of course, we want everyone to have a great time. So we want people to chime in and tell us what they want to do in those locations. But it is really driven by us. And frankly, we're really excited about it.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you're excited. It sounds like it's going to be a wonderful trip. How does this work financially, typically, for a family moon?
That's what I want to know.
Who's paying for it? In most cases.
So very easily for us. Luckily, I think with families, it can probably be a little bit more complicated. From some of my clients, instead of the father or the family contributing to the wedding, they're contributing to the honeymoon instead. So you might see, the parents pick up the tab. In our case, we're just straight up splitting it amongst our group.
Okay.
And there's a couple of dinners and nice things that we'll treat people out to, just because we want to thank them for coming. We want to thank them for the time and the effort and all of that stuff. But essentially straight down the path, as a travel agent, I can book all the hotels and things like that. But essentially everyone's paying for themselves.
Nice.
Okay, so speaking of bookings, as a travel expert, you say the couples are expected to take the lead during that experience. So what should they consider when planning this family moon so that everybody's happy?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. Depending on how stressful or not stressful you want to make it, you can plan it on your own. You can work with a travel advisor. You could pick an all-inclusive resort if all you want to do is just chill, enjoy, a really nice resort with your friends and have that more curated experience. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is you want to set expectations. You want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Not every meal or activity needs to be shared, especially if you're having 20, 30, 40 people on your trip, if you want to go that far. But at the same time, plan a couple of moments where people will be together, those special events, if you will, so that it does still feel like a celebration.
All right, Joanie. Well, we can't wait to hear how your family moon or friend moon or whatever you want to call it turns out. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And congratulations.